Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Liberated Voices with myself, Hussein Ahuda Ali Diakiviz,
and myself, Intia Fatima. Today we have a wonderful guest,
Luwezi Kinshasa from the African People's Socialist Party and the Uhuru movement. And he's going to be talking to us today about the genocide in Congo and what is the situation.
Welcome, Luwezi.
Assalamu alaikum, brother and sister. And I would say Uhuru, which simply in Swahili means freedom. And that is the center of all the things we do. We want to be free. I'll say from Palestine to Congo, from New York to Haiti, we have to be free.
I think all people with dignity believe in want freedom, and that's important.
Absolutely.
I think to start with, we've heard a lot about the Congolese genocide, but we've heard the phrase Congolese genocide, but we haven't actually heard much about what's happening in Congo. Very few people have any idea or any clue what's happening. So I just wonder if you could give us a start with just telling us what exactly is happening. What do people mean when they say the Congolese genocide?
Thank you. This is an important question. We could begin with most of the people of my generation and possibly those of the generation, maybe 2 generations after me, but generation of my parents and people like that, they have heard of Mobutu. He used to be a president of Congo. And Mobutu was put there by the United States in 1960 in alliance with the Belgium, the French, the British colonizers. And they put Mobutu there in replacement or at the expense of the legitimate leader, who was Patrice Lumumba. Lumumba was an anti-colonial leader. And Mobutu was a pro-colonial leader. So the British, the French, the Belgian, what we refer to as the Western powers, they cannot accept an anti-colonial government anywhere, not just in Africa, anywhere, because for the system to operate, what they refer to as capitalism, colonialism must be the foundation, not yesterday, but all the time. So if the colonizers stand up, they have to use extreme violence. That's what we call genocide. So genocide is not an exception, but it's a response of the colonizers to prevent the rise of anti-colonial struggle of the colonized people. So in the case of Congo, they killed Patrice Lumumba, they killed Lumumba followers, they overthrew the government that was there, and they gave us a government that the West wanted, and that government was led by Mobutu. And Mobutu stayed in power for 32 years. And with the fall, so that's from 1960 to 1965, Mobutu was there. He was the leader of the army, controlling things behind the scene. But from 65 to 1996, he was effectively the leader in the Congo. So now, with the collapse of the Soviet Union, the fall of so-called Eastern Communist bloc, the situation in the world changes. The United States did not need any more an anti-colonial. They did not need any more Mobutu to be in power to hand down their anti-colonizers in the Congo. So they didn't need him. What they needed now, they need the Congo that they can loot at will. Congo that is disorganized and stateless almost. And Mobutu became a problem for them. So they don't need anymore. He has served them. So they told him, Mobutu, you need to go. If you don't go, your body will be, display on the street of Congo like a vagabond, like nobody. Mobutu didn't believe it because he served them for 32 years. He couldn't believe that. And they told him in his face. And within a year, the United States funded a so-called rebellion starting from Rwanda. And people will remember in Rwanda in 94, there was a genocide in Rwanda. But in reality, that genocide was a conflict between the French and the United States colonizers, imperialists who will dominate the resources of Africa in that part. So they fought a proxy war. Pro-US and pro-French fought together. So it was a genocide created by the dispute between France and the United States. And the pro-US won. And that the guy who won, his name is Kagame. And the Kagame is in power now. So the United States, they use Kagame now to come to Congo. What's the pretext? The pretext is that they're pursuing the Rwandans who fled from Rwanda to Congo, and apparently they are all genocides. They're accusing them of committing a crime of genocide. Therefore, they should be killed, whatever. So the Rwanda came to Congo under that pretext, but in reality, it was to topple Mobutu and to have access to the resources of Congo. That was the plan. Control Rwanda first, and use the pretext that they're going to follow the genocide. Those Rwandese who are being accused of committing genocide in Rwanda, now they're fled in Congo, pursue them, but the reality is overthrow Mobutu and take control of the Congo. That's how the United States works with Rwanda and Uganda.
The way I heard it at the time, I might be wrong, 'cause it was quite a while ago, but it starts with Museveni. They spread it to Kagame, and then it went to Kabila or whatnot in Congo. Is that how you would see it as well?
Absolutely correct, because Kagame used to be a chief of security under Museveni army, and Kagame Kagame's parents fled Rwanda in 1959 because the Belgians decided to overthrow the alliance that used to be between the Belgians and the Tutsis. So in Rwanda, you go three ethnicities, but the Tutsi, the Hutus, and the Twa. And the Belgians used to rule Rwanda using the Tutsis elites. Now, in the 60s, with the rise of anti-colonial struggle in Africa, the Belgians decided not to work with the Tutsi anymore. They're going to work with the Hutu. So they told the Hutu, the Tutsis are your enemy. So they attacked the Tutsis, and the Tutsis fled to Uganda. That's how Kagame was found himself in Uganda. It's true. The United States using the material that are sent in Africa to make war in Somalia. Remember the war in 1991, the invasion of Somalia by the United States? So this material, war material, ended up in Uganda, and it was used in war in Rwanda. And the rest is history. Kagame came to power with the army of Museveni. Kagame didn't come by himself. He came with the army of Museveni, but disguised as the Rwandan Defense Force. And from that time, that was 1997, when Mobutu was definitely overthrown. From 1997, the United States and the alliance of Kagame and Museveni and the others, they imposed Kabila in power. But Kabila did not go along after like 6 months. He didn't want to go along anymore because he came to power with the complicity or with the help of the United States and Kagame and Museveni. But once in power, he said he cannot sacrifice the interests of Congo because of that. So he broke this alliance after 2 years. And the United States and Museveni and Kagame, they organized his assassination in 2001. So 3 years after, almost 4 years after he came to power. And what they decided to do is, you see, what they call, when they came to Congo, they used an organization called AFDL. It's a kind of an alliance of different kind of forces, but the head of it is in Rwanda. And then they will take people from Congo to be the face of it, but the head is in Rwanda and also in Uganda. Because Kabila, Laurent Desire Kabila, the father, refused to go along after a few months. What they decided to do, create a new secession, a new rebellion. But in reality, it's not really a rebellion, it's an invasion. So the bourgeois press, they all work together. All the corporations, all the Western corporations, they all repeat the same, they have the same narrative as Kagame, as Museveni, and the United States, which means that what's going on in Congo is a rebellion. Since 1998, since Kabila, the father said, I'm not going along with you. So they create that rebellion, a new rebellion since 1998, up to this very moment when they're talking about M23 as rebels of the M23. They're not rebels. It doesn't matter if they have Africans from Congo or not. They are invading force supported by Uganda, supported by Rwanda, supported by the United States, supported by all the colonizers.
So, Luwezi, just to jump in and clarify, the pretext for all of this is the resources in Congo, is that correct?
Correctly. It's the resources.
And so the West, the United States, France, they're trying to just get the resources, and that's why they're using these excuses to invade the land.
Yep, that's correct. And when we say resources, we want people to be clear. We're talking of many resources here, but the most critical component is a coltan, which goes to make the phones, the mobile phones, Xboxes, spacecraft, laptops, you name it,
Batteries as well.
and lithium,
Yeah.
and cobalt. And Congo has, we don't know, they say 60 to 80% of coltan. Cobalt also the same, over 60%. And in fact, it's just the next country that produce cobalt is like Canada. Canada is not even 20%, it's below that. But the United States considers those resources as strategic for their domination of the world. So therefore, they have to be under control of the United States, military control. And that's all we see in the Congo. So the press doesn't say that. The press says the Tutsis or people from Rwanda or people from what they call Rwandophone, people speak the language of Rwanda are being oppressed and things like that. No, nothing to do with that. All Africans are oppressed. If you know oppressed in African, something's wrong there. If you're African, you know oppressed, you must be working for the United States government or with any colonizers. But all of us are oppressed. So, yeah.
What do you mean when you say genocide? So if the Congo is under military control by the West, what do you mean exactly by genocide?
Now, deliberate extermination in total or in parts of a people is as defined by the Genocide Convention of the UN. That's what's going in the Congo. When you kill women in a most barbarous way, when you put metals in female organs, when you open all your gun charger and you shoot inside the female organ, when you rape not one woman, you rape all women in a village, all women in a village, in front of their husband, in front of their children, those women cannot reproduce anymore. The trauma is so severe they cannot. You got women going mad in the Congo. And those men also cannot reproduce because they feel important because they were unable to defend their wives, their sisters, their babies. They get parents to rape their daughters. If you don't, then they'll kill you in the most. I mean, we have all kind of pictures. We don't really share it with the people because they are just unbelievable level of violence. That's what we know. Colonialism, that's what it is. It's extreme level of violence to impose colonialism. You cannot impose colonialism with having the Nakba in Palestine. You cannot have colonialism with shooting in hospitals in Palestine and Gaza. That's colonialism. That is colonialism. That's how the United States was born. It was born like that. Shooting, killing the indigenous people. It was born like that. Killing, shooting Africans. That's how he was born. That's how he maintained. That's how, you look at Vietnam War, genocide war. Even today, people in Vietnam are still being killed by all the napalm, the orange, Agent Orange, the United States used. We don't even know. I mean, napalm bombs, the French, the US have been using in Africa. You go to Niger, most of the groundwater has been polluted. You can't even drink it. If you go to Congo, where cobalt is extracted, not even where there's war. That's the Kivu and the Ituri provinces. Come down in south in Katanga, rivers polluted. Women drink from those rivers or eat fish from those rivers. Fish polluted, contaminated. For the first time in our history, women are giving birth to children with defects because the water they drink or the fish they eat, and etc. etc.
So just quickly on On the question of internal, who's benefiting internally? Are there Congolese companies and businessmen that are like a Congolese bourgeoisie that's
Oh,
maybe
yes.
aligned with the US or
Oh, yes. Internally for us, what is, in the 60s, what happens? You had a rise of anti-colonial struggle all over the world, from the Middle East to Southeast Asia to Africa, in the US, everywhere in the world. Anti-colonial struggle was the norm. Everywhere you look, you read anything from the 60s, what you see? You hear all these great Ho Chi Minh, the Mao Zedong, the Malcolm X, the Lumumba, the Castro. Great struggle everywhere. But two things happens. One is the counter-insurgency, which is a military response from the colonizers. That's what's happening in Gaza to prevent a successful outcome of an anti-colonial struggle. So it's a military response that sat down, just as Netanyahu announces it, he agreed with the plan. So it's a military response. That's what you saw everywhere. And that basically broke the backbone of our anti-colonial struggle in the 60s, because we were not ready, we were not well organized, and Lumumba assassinated, Malcolm X assassinated, things like that. The weaknesses in our movement, we were not united on an international level, and so there are many things. We didn't solve all the problems of the revolution. For the revolution to be successful, you go solve all the problems. But the other aspect is opportunism. People from the inside who unite with colonialism. They see their future. They see their individual success more important than the collective success. They see the goodies for their families, for the children, more important than the goodies, than the happiness of the nation, of the entire people. And they united with the colonizers. And that's what you saw in the Congo in the 60s with the assassination of Lumumba. All these Africans were united with colonizers, and their children, they're in power today. What you see in the Congo today is a consequence of that betrayal that basically has undermined our movement in more than 6 decades. So they benefited. They continue to benefit. They're the millionaires, you name it. They're in power today. And this also allows the opportunists in the region. You go some Africans in the region like Kagame and others, they don't care. As long as they're in power, they will go for anybody who puts them in power. So the US say, I want some Africans to go make war in the Congo. Can you do that? Yeah. Can you kill them? Yeah, I can do that. As long as you give me power. So the Museveni, all these people, they are prepared to do that. And everywhere they start against opportunities, we see a struggle, to get opportunities out of our back, to keep the anti-colonial struggles, leadership of anti-colonial struggle to be the only leadership. That serious struggle we're involved in everywhere, and they're the one who benefit in terms of Africa, inside Africa, and in the region. But internationally, of course, everybody or every economy of the world is part of the colonial mode of production. It doesn't matter if you are in the United States or you're in South Korea or in China, wherever you are. If you're going to produce mobile phone, you are part of a single world economy. So they all benefit from it, but the corporations who fund the world are the most beneficiaries, because they're the one who sell content. They're the one who providing weapons and everything, which will go around the world selling those material. But in short, the whole world economy benefit. Why? Because the world economy is based on colonial money production. So colonization of Palestine is necessary for the whole colonial mode of production to function.
So
That's why all the colonizers are against freedom of Palestine.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are definitely some very pertinent parallels to be drawn between what's happening in Palestine right now and what's happening in Congo. I do wonder though, we know why Palestine has been head front and center of the news lately with, people suggesting what happened on October 7th to be the beginning of this whole genocide, which obviously it's not. Similarly, what's been happening in Congo has been happening for a very long time now. There's a whole generation that has been brought up within the struggle. So can you shed a little bit of light on maybe why now it's coming to light? Why are people waking up now?
Thank you, my sister, for that question. Because the reason they're talking about Congo today, just for the same reason they're talking about Palestine today, is the success of resistance. People may not like about the success of resistance. If the resistance is rising, then the colonizers cannot enjoy life as in the old ways. They can't. So they have to face the new situation, the new reality, and respond to it. And it doesn't matter what they do, the world is not going back to what it used to be because the colonizers have made already their determination. We're not going back. We're not going back. And then the colonizers are on the defensive. And that's why you begin to see the media, they begin to see what we're saying. For a long time, they didn't pay attention. But now they have to look, oh, who's saying what? Who is influential? We force them.
So is this a good sign?
It is indeed. Every time the colonized people are fighting is good because a colonized that is not fighting doesn't deserve anything. In fact, Thomas Sankara, the great leader in West Africa, said a slave that does not fight back for his freedom doesn't deserve pity from anyone. So fighting back, that's why now everybody has to talk about Palestine. It doesn't matter where you are. Even if you don't follow politics, you watch the news, say, no, what's going on there? And if you're a man of freedom or you care about justice, you will say, no, bombing hospital. No, I can't agree with that. The same when you hear about what's going to come. Did you say they rape women? Like mass rape by the armies? And this is funded by the corporations. All these great corporations, the Apple, the Samsung, all of them, they have blood and rape of African women in Congo. They have it. They all know. They have all drones. They are the most informed. They have all the media, all the most powerful media. What do they don't know? They know everything.
But in regards to the resistance within Congo itself, what does that look like at the moment?
Now, that is a very important question. Very important question, because the anti-colonial struggle in the Congo has been pushed up, defeated. Now, what we have seen in the Congo is the emergence of opportunity struggle. People fight not to end colonialism, but to reform colonialism, to make it more manageable by including them. So they're fighting to be managers. They'll say, why you have Uganda and Rwanda and no Congolese, other Africans are being in charge of part of Congo. They say, we can do it for you. So they're fighting for the right to be the one who sells Congo to the foreigners. And that's one. And the second thing is the resistance, like the people's struggles, have been spontaneous, not coherent, not united. You have small groups everywhere, fighting back. Congolese patriot, nationalists, there's even a term that's being created in African terms to mean a patriot. They call them the Wazalendo. So they're the one also fighting, but they don't have a centralized organization, and it's not a national organization. But you also have the Africans from Congo who live outside Congo, like Europe, France, Belgium, and in large numbers. And they have been demonstrating for years, over 10 years. And the children have grown seeing the parents go to demonstration on a regular basis. Now, if you go to demonstration, you will see children born in London, born in Paris, born in Belgium, well, teenagers, early 20s. So they grew under the resistance. And there's a convergence for all that. And of course, they're also influenced, but they see in Palestine. They see Palestine in the news. They say, wow, Palestine is genocide, Congo genocide too. How do we get that in the news? Demonstrating, because we see marches in London, marches everywhere. They're also doing the same thing. So there is, as I say, there is no disconnection, between that. We learn from each other, and that's basically is also contributing. And the last thing is, the people know that Africa is wealthy, very wealthy. Congo is just an example of it. So you don't have to convince anybody that we cannot continue to live like this. And particularly when they see the wealth that all these corporations are making. We're talking about $500 billion for apples every year. You name it. And then when you go to Congo, you know the budget of Congo for 100 million people is about $5 billion. It's
Wow.
not even the budget of like London or a city like Brussels. It's not even that. 5 billion. I mean, it's unbelievable, which means there is no budget for the people. That's what it means. There is no budget for the people. The budget is just to pay the salaries of the upper class, the accompanying bourgeoisie. So, and the struggle in West Africa also, I think, is having an impact in the Congo. They see people rising up in Niger, in Mali, in Burkina. So that's what I can say now. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. I just wanted to ask quickly, I know that we're almost coming to the end of the episode. In terms of now things being more broadcasted on social media and people can see what horrifying things have been happening, especially like you said, to the women in the villages and the idea of trying to cut off future generations by polluting the environment and all of that. What sort of solution, or is there any kind of light at the end of the tunnel? How do you see this folding out?
Yes, I'm a part of African Socialist Party, as I was said. And Chairman of Mali, who is in the United States, was under attack by the US government. They're accusing us of being agent of Russia just because he made a trip to Russia, but in reality, they're attacking him because he provided an answer to end the 600 years of oppression for Africa and the Black people in general. And more than that, he's saying basically uh, the task for all colonized people is to end colonial mode of production. And that then you will solve all the problems. And that's the connection for all our struggle from Venezuela to Palestine to Congo to US to London, wherever they are. We're not fighting for a better, they say capitalism or something like that. We're fighting to end colonialism as a mode of production. If you end it, you also end capitalism de facto. So, and saying that, it means that we understand now better than any time in history that capitalism is a result of theft of resources of all oppressed people on earth. That's what it is. It's not that people in London or Paris wake up one day with so much capital. Wow, we got so much capital. Let's go to Middle East. No. They went to Middle East. They went to Africa. They went to America to get the resource, which form what they call today capital. So we're not fighting to be like them. We're fighting to create a new world, a world where there will be no colonialism, where there will be no nation living at the expense of another nation. And for that to happen, and we have a project, we call that the African Socialist International. We're saying that the African Revolution must be led by an advanced detachment, and which will organize every front of the African Revolution and bring them together so we can be more strategic in achieving completing the revolution, because the point for us is to complete what we started. We've been fighting for so long, but now it's to complete it. And to complete that, we need that strategic organization. And that's what we're in the process of building. And we're winning also ideologically, which means that our people are turning their back on the narrative of the colonizers. Even if you listen to the narrative, we fought for a long time to say the problem is not racism. It's not what is in the head of white people that matters. What matters is the power over ourselves, power over our lands, power over our own economics and things like that. And that's what we would say from a long time. Racism is just fighting to be accepted. We're not fighting to be accepted. We're fighting to end colonialism, and that is a serious victory. We're forcing the colonizers to say the problem is not racism, but it's colonialism. And these struggles continue. Just like it's happening in Palestine, the issue is the colonialism. That's the issue, in Africa, the same thing. It's colonialism. That's the issue, and because of that clarity, and also the fight against opportunism, which will lead the struggle. The struggle must be led, as I said, by the anti-colonial sector, led by the advanced attachment of that category. Basically, that's basically what we call the African Socialist International. That must lead it, and that's the effort. That's why our organization came under attack, and we're winning because we believe there is no turning back. The reawakening Africa, you see, there is no turning back. Just like we are confident that we are working with sin of Palestine, there is no turning back. The world is being changed. We the colonized, we're changing it. And confidence in ourselves.
I think definitely we're seeing that with, like you say, Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali. Things are happening very fast now as well, actually.
Very fast.
10 years ago, you wouldn't think we'd be in the situation we are now. And, hopefully that goes through to Congo as well, I think.
Yes.
To get something similar, maybe you need some sort of centralized government with control for a coup or such to happen. And from what you're saying, it sounds like they just don't want any peace. They don't want a strong leader, just a strong puppet. They want war constantly. It's easier to lose the country.
Even to have a strong puppet is difficult for them. Because where will they find the strong puppet? Where will they find it? Because the people don't believe in those puppets anymore. That's why even they have to go to Uganda and Rwanda. That's why you have to have the Kenyan army in the Congo. That's why you have to have the South African army in the Congo. Because within Congo, they can't find a strong puppet. That's not possible. So they have to go outside Congo and find it, which basically allows us to deepen that struggle to say, yeah, the problem is just the puppet in the Congo, the puppet outside Congo too. Opportunism all over the African struggle, and that's what we need to overcome. So it's a good time to struggle, definitely. And the masses are much more clear than people think. The masses are much more clear. It's just now our creativity to get the struggle of people where it should be. Our willingness and our creativity, definitely. So that's why we say we are winning. And we mean it. We are winning. And imperialism is an irreversible decline. It doesn't matter what they do. They bring Biden or Trump. They're all two faces of irreversible decline of the United States. So we should not be so much concerned, but continue to organize the people to say we're not turning back until victory.
Yeah, thank you so much, Luwezi. I feel enlightened a lot more in the situation. I think our viewers especially will really benefit a lot from what they've heard, and
Definitely.
hopefully things will get better. Things are obviously going forward generally around the world, and it looks like Congo is one of the most important parts of the world strategically. It's certainly within Africa. That's why Che Guevara focused there the same way he focused on Bolivia in the center of South America. So we really appreciate you coming on, and hopefully we'll have you back again soon, and we'll be able to stay updated.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to coming to Liberated Voice, and so we can increase, and people are listening in, and so we can all of us have our faith in the revolution. So Uhuru, thank you so much.
Amazing. And in the meantime, the viewers at home, you can catch up with our other episodes on all relevant platforms, wherever you can find podcasts, you'll find us. So thank you very much for joining us, Luwezi, and thank you to you at home.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.